All right, so I'm going to go over how to get your character from Zbrush to Substance for texturing. So I have my character here in my subtool. I've clicked all low, so these are all now, all these subtools go to the lowest subdivision level. If I click all high, that puts all of these at the highest subdivision level. So this is where you'll go in and make sure that you do all low and all high. You're going to export everything at the low and export everything at the high. So currently I have all low, and if I go to all, well, I can see all high here is 6.6 million. And so this is what I was talking about in class, that I was crashing Substance Painter with this many polygons. So I did have to reduce that. So in order to reduce some of these, all you have to do, if you hold Alt, you can click on a subtool to select it. So here I'm Alt clicking on the hair. And if I go to geometry, I can see how many subdivision levels I have. So the highest at 7 tells me I'm at 1.1, or sorry, 1.9 million. So what I'm going to do is hit F to look at the hair. And right now I'm at the 7th subdivision. If I hold Shift D, will go down in subdivision levels. So Shift D, now I'm at 6. And that's 475,000. So D to go back up, Shift D to go down, and I don't see a difference between 6 and 7, so I'm going to go to 6, and then I'm going to click this delete higher. Now when I click this, notice my value here is going to drop. This means this hair will be a max. The highest is going to be 475,000 points. So here, delete higher, and now I'm at 5.268 million. So that reduced it by over a million there. So Alt click on the head, and I'm going to go up to 6. 319 doesn't seem too outrageous, so I'm going to leave that one. Alt click on the eyes and the mouth, and I go up to the highest, and that's 82,000, which doesn't seem too high. Shift D, actually, so if I go D, I can delete higher, and that doesn't look too bad there. This is floating a little bit, and that's okay. I'm going to leave that. And then Alt click here. Okay, t-shirt all the way up, 800,000. So if I hold Shift D, goes down one. And this is kind of what I'm looking for. It's a little bit, I can see some of the, it looks a little bit pixelated here. That's actually drawing the quads. You can kind of see them if I hit D. It's much smoother. So this one I'm going to leave. Actually have some areas here that probably could be smoothed out a little more too. This dot pattern in my, that's from the stroke is that dotted stroke, and it kind of held a little too, like here you can see there's some dots in here. So just smooth that out a little. All right, so this one looks good at that level, so I'm going to leave that. And we'll talk about this. There's going to be some issues that I'll show you, and that will happen most likely, but I'll show you how to fix that too. So let's see here. Alt click on the pants. There's my first subdivision level. Drag this up to the highest, and the highest is at 700,000. And I don't think I want to go lower. Let's see what happens. Shift D. Yeah, it gets kind of bad in through here. I don't want that. So if I hit D to go back up, that's better. This I didn't really finish so much, so I just kind of pulled that out. I think I was showing you guys how to use that in class and didn't quite fix it, so that's okay. Okay, so there's that. And then let's check the shoe. 7, Shift D. I like that higher. Let's see, it was at the hands. Go all the way up to 7. 1.8, Shift D. Goes down 1. And I'm going to delete higher there. So now I'm at 3.8. So all high went from 6 million to 3.8 million. So I'm going to go with that for now. All right, so next I'm going to export. So here's my geometry. Now I'm going to go to my subtools here and I'm going to click all high. And then I'm going to export. So I go all high and then export. It gives me this window. I need to find the right location. Go into my scenes. And this is going to be my high res no suffix, and I'll tell you what that is. I'm going to show you what happens if you don't name all of your tools, and we'll go over how to fix that. All right, so no suffix HR for high resolution. And then I'm going to click save. You want to replace it, and I'll just click yes. Here I'm going to go visible FBX 2020 bin as normals and nothing else selected, and then I'm going to hit OK. And it's going to take a while, so here I'm going to pause and we'll come back, pick up. Okay, so exported, and now I need to go back to my subtool here and go all low, and then also export the all low model as an FBX. So here I have characters, no suffix, and we'll get into why I'm doing that. I just wanted to show you what happens, issues that you will probably run into and how to fix them. So there's that. Click save. I won't save over it. I already saved it. And so now we'll go to Substance Painter. So here I've launched Substance Painter and don't have anything here. So here I'm just going to go File, New. And I'm just going to use this ASM PBR metallic rough and then select. And here you're going to select the low resolution file. So I'm going to open that. And here I can always change this later. I just set that to 2048. And I'm not using the tile workflow. And I'm not importing any baked maps. And so that's it. Then I'm just going to click OK, and that imports the low resolution mesh. Okay, so now I have that. Now I'm going to go here to the croissant and bake my textures. So here I'm going to select my output size, change that to 2048, and instead of using the low poly as the high poly mesh, I'm going to select the high poly mesh, which is this one with no suffix. Okay, and so that imports. This is where it might crash if you have your high poly is too high poly. So if there's like I had it originally at 6 million and it didn't work well. It was crashing. Okay, so now I have this, and here's where you want to look around and make sure you don't see any kind of red areas. So this max frontal distance, if I drag that down, see how I'm seeing a lot of red? That means it's not looking far enough this um, sort of this light blue area. So this shape outside is what it's looking at to compare. So because if it's too low, it won't see it, and then your bake, and you won't see any of the parts that are red will not get baked. So you want to make sure that this is large enough so you don't see it. So here I'll just do 0.01 to set it back to the default, which looks fine. Okay, so there's that. This rear you can play with, although you shouldn't have to. You can't really see it. Oh, it looks like there's going to be an issue there on the fingertip just a little bit. And a little bit here. So if I go here, I can do 0.1. Let's see if I do 0.11. Whoops. 0.011. Point zero. Whoops. No. 0.012. Okay. So just pushed it just a little bit more to get the fingertip there. Okay. Then I'm going to click Bake, Textures. All of these are checked, so it's going. These are the shapes. These names are coming from Zbrush, so this is the names of all my subtools. So I just left it the way it was so we could see what it's doing. And then these are all the maps that it's going to bake. So these I just left normal world space ID. Probably the IDs for ID maps and things that we're not using. I just left it on. And curvature we'll probably use, thickness we may not. So here now that's all done baking, and I'm going to return to painting, and this is what I see. So there's a few things that are going to be problems. Okay, so if I go here in focus mode, this just lets me select one object and hides all the rest. I'm going to look at this shirt. So here's kind of the problem that I'm having. So right along this edge, see how it looks kind of bubbly? It looks really weird. And then it's kind of got this AO, but it's kind of clipped off. So there's some problems with the way that it's kind of rendering. And if I look at the pants, you can see it took the shirt and baked it across the front of the pants. And then back here, not that you probably would never see it, but so like here in some cases you would. So because the shirt is over the pants, it's looking at that and it baked that into the pants, which is not good. And then down here around the ankles, you can see it just kind of didn't quite hold up so well. So there's some problems with that. If we look at the head as well, around the hairline, you can see there's some issues where it just looks kind of bad along this edge of the hairline. And so if we look at the head, you can see this is what it baked. So because the hair is so close to the head and actually kind of goes through it, it's baking some of the hair geometry information into the UV space of the head. And so that's what we're seeing here. So this normal map is now being baked into the head and also baked into the hair. This normal information from the eyes is now baked into the head as well. So this normal map is baked into the head texture, even though the eyes and the mouth are separate. So it's almost like it's doubled. So I have my eyes, and then the geometry is baked into the head, and then I have the eyebrows. So that information is baked because it's so close to the head. It's doing that. Okay, so I do have to fix those things. So same here on the shoes. So you see how it's kind of rounding? That happens when the low resolution mesh isn't dense enough, doesn't have enough edges to match the shape. So these areas are getting cut off. And that's the same thing that's happening to the t-shirt, is that it's getting clipped off. So in order to fix that, what you need to do is go back to Zbrush, and instead of exporting, you want to make sure that you save, right? So make sure you save before you do anything. I'm going to go back to the t-shirt, and I'm going to go to my geometry, and instead of exporting the low res at level 1, I'm going to go to level 2. And that's going to look better. And the shoes, I can turn that up to level 2. The pants, let's go to level 2. Okay. So those I'm going to go up to level 2. And see where I put my t-shirt, turned it off. Okay, so now I have that. So now let's see what happens if I export that. Okay, so I exported it at level 2. This is not it. So I need to redo that whole process again. So here I'm just going to go File, New. Or actually, let's see what happens if I do this. File, where's it? Edit. Edit, Project Configuration. I think that's the... Yeah, so here I went to Edit, Project Configuration, and then in this window, this is where I'm selecting the low res. So I'm going to hit select here. Here I saved this out, no suffix level 2, low res, open, preserve positions, and then I'm just going to hit OK. And that now is the level 2 shirt, level 2 pants, and level 2 shoe. So I'm going to go back to my painting here. Okay, and then I'm going to see what happens if I go back here to 0.01, and it's still a little, so 0.012, just to get that little fingertip in there. Okay, so then same high res, and then I'm going to bake the textures again. So bake all textures. So it's rebaking everything. And so that's fixing some of the problems, but not all of the problems. So it's going through some issues still down here. This is a little bit better through the shirt here and the pants, but I'm still seeing some issues where information is being baked across these. So let's return to painting. So the shirt looks a lot better down here. but I'm still getting this line across the pants and still have problems with the hair and the head. All of that information is getting baked across the head. So I need to fix that next. So the only way to fix that is to use naming conventions suffixes for all of your parts. So we will look at that now. If I go back to ZBrush, here's where your naming is going to be extremely important. So here's my first part that's being exported. My hair is using my naming convention. So I need to click that, and I'm going to click rename, and I'm going to call this hair. Okay. Then I have eyes, mouth 1. I'm going to rename that. Call that just eyes, and get rid of that. Mouth. And scroll down. Arm 4. I'm going to rename. Call this arms. And then here's my shoes. This name wouldn't really affect anything, but I'll show you why I'm doing this. This is going to be easier for me to work with. So shirt SS, I'm going to rename, and that I'm just going to call t-shirt. Okay, so now I have everything named. It's one word. So now I need to add suffixes. So a suffix is appended at the end of the naming convention. So I need to add something to the end. That's what the suffix is. So if I go to Z plugin, I can go to my subtool master. If I click this, it opens it as a separate little tool here. It's the same thing as if I just go in here. If I close this, if I go Z plugin, all of these are the same thing. This just opens it as a separate little panel. So Z plugin, and I'm going to go subtool master. Here I'm going to click rename. So I'm going to hit rename, and then it's going to say you can add a prefix, remove a prefix, add a suffix, remove a suffix, or correct duplicate subtool names. I'm going to add a suffix here. So right now these are all my low polys. So cancel this. Right now I'm looking at this is my low resolution for all of my subtools. So I'm going to go Z plugin. This rename is the same. Click rename, add a suffix. I'm going to click OK. Now it says enter the suffix to add. So I'm going to go underscore LR for low res. So it's going to export hair underscore LR, eyes mouth underscore LR. So it's going to add that. Click here, hit enter, and now these all have the LR added at the end. Okay, so now I'm going to take this and export that as my low res, and I already did that, so I'm not going to overwrite it. Okay, so now these all say low res, export SVL low res. Okay, then I need to go back to my subtool and go all high, and then I need to export all of those. So Z plugin, rename. Here I'm going to remove the suffix and click OK and enter the suffix to remove underscore LR. Hit enter, removes the underscore LR from everything. Then I'm going to go back here to my Z plugin, and I'm going to rename, and then I'm going to add a new suffix, and that one I'm going to call underscore HR for the high res. Hit enter. They're all named underscore HR underscore, everything's underscore HR. Okay, then I'm going to export that, as my SVL high res. Okay, so that I've done. Okay, now I can go back to Substance Painter and I'm going to go File, let's see, Edit here, Project Configuration. I'm going to select, I wonder if it'll, yeah, let's see, it should be able to, my low res that has all of my suffix added. Click Open and I should see all of those names now here. So here's arms LR, eyes, mouth LR, LR, LR. Everything's LR. All of these other ones are no longer used. They're still there. You could also just start fresh and just go File, New, select, go here to LR, no, this one, LR, open 2048 and click OK and then discard the previous one, and then you won't have all of those other things. I don't know if you can delete them out of there. So this is the same thing. Everything now has the LR. So now if I go to bake, I'm going to do the same thing. So 2048, click here. I'm going to grab my high res, open. It's going to look at that. Here I just need to change my 0.012. And then here's where the naming convention comes in. So anti-aliasing you can do 4 times. So under this match, you're going to do mesh by name. And then here's the low poly mesh suffix and the high poly mesh suffix. So this is going to be underscore LR for the low. Sorry, I hit tab there and it just changed my menu. So then underscore HR for the high res. This I'm going to leave ignore BF, ignore backface suffix. So that's just if there was something you wanted to ignore the backfaces on, you would have to put this suffix. I don't think we need to do that. So this low poly underscore LR, high poly underscore HR. And then I'm going to bake. And so what this is going to do is say this mesh has the same name as the high res. So it looks at the LR t-shirt underscore LR t-shirt underscore HR and will only bake those compared to each other. And whatever the t-shirt does will not affect the pants then. So these won't be baked across objects anymore. Even if they are touching, overlapping, they won't intersect. It won't bake any of the t-shirt information onto the pants because of the naming conventions. Okay, so return to painting mode. And now if we look at the pants, I don't see any of that other line coming through the pants here. And if I go here, I can go to the pants and you can see it bakes just the AO where the shirt is affecting the pants, but it's not baking any of the normal map. So the AO is the shadows, ambient occlusion. So the t-shirt is overlapping the pants and causing that overlap, and that would be where the ambient occlusion comes in. So now I have a really nice bake. Everything looks nice and clean. The same across the head here. I don't see that other weird edge coming through. And if I click on the head here, now I can see my texture. All of that other normal information is no longer being baked on my head texture. It's just giving me shadows from the ambient occlusion of the face parts. And I could always still move those back. But I don't have to worry now that I have normal map information baked onto things that I don't want normal map baked, because I don't want the normal map from the pants to be on the shoe. So it only bakes the lighting, the ambient occlusion, and now you have a much cleaner bake across all of your meshes. So that's what you need to do to get your mesh from Zbrush to Substance. Make sure you name everything, add suffixes, export, remove, add another suffix, export, so that you get nice clean bakes across from Substance Painter.